Alright, let's do it. You'll not be able to change how President Rayne looks from this point forward. Are you sure? Yes. The hardest decision I've ever had to make. Alright. As Anton Rayne, you have made many promises to the people of Sordland in order to gain their votes. They must be considered very carefully. Hello and welcome to Suzerain. I believe that's how you say it, but if it's not, then, well, that's my bad. Anyway, this is a game about playing as President Rayne, leading his country into ruin or repair during your first term. And you have to navigate political intrigue, conversations with your cabinet members, and other significant figures. Now there's going to be a whole bunch of different choices that we're going to have to make in this game. If you'd like to check out the game, there is a link in the description. This video is not sponsored in any way. I had just received a lot of requests for me to play this in the past, and I'm just getting around to doing it now. So that's the reason. Anyway, let's do it. Start a new game. And this is text-based, so I'm wondering whether they have voice acting. I don't think they would, because there's probably quite a lot of text. Anyway, you are my enslavement and my freedom. You are my flesh burning like a raw summer night. You are my country. Okay, so we're going to get a lot of, a lot of backstabbery. A lot of backstabbery going on, no doubt. 1908, Kingdom of Sordland. You opened your eyes to this world. You came from... here we go. Alright, we're used to this, because if you've played Mount and Blade, then you kind of know the sort of, like, options that you get when you first start creating your character, and this is very intriguing to me. Okay, so wealthy, middle income, or impoverished. Okay, so I assume that this is going to indicate how people treat you, potentially, or how you look upon others. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to go for impoverished. Your parents named you Anton. As the only child of a farmer, you spent your childhood among wheat fields. Life was not easy. You were too poor to afford a good education. The Rayne family was caring, regardless of the economically dire situation. Your parents always did their best to support you. The years passed. September 9th, 1923. Bear in mind that we were in 1908 before, so we're quite a bit older now. During a history class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You heard a loud commotion outside. As everyone tried to figure out what was going on, the principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more, and the Republic of Sordland was born. Alright. You did not fully understand, you were happy that you had the day off, or you were somewhat worried. Well, I think we should be somewhat worried, because we don't know what this new republic is going to bring. Obviously, if we were going to choose you were happy that you had the day off, that's kind of carefree, which I think is quite nice, but I think we're going to be somewhat worried. 1926. After graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. Even though your family was poor, the public education system made it possible to go to university. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. You chose law at the Holsword State University, economics at the Lackhaven Business School, or history at the Dare University of Culture. Okay, well, as a very learned man in real life, not. I have 20,000 different degrees, not. But yes, anyway, let's have a look here. What am I going to choose? I think we're going to go for history because this is our hometown, and I personally feel like if we're going to stay true to our roots, then I feel like this would probably make the most sense. So I'll do history, even though that might not be the most useful in the end, but we'll see. During the first year, you attended a lecture with David Visky? I don't know. He was a well-known diplomat from the foreign ministry and the son of the president. After observing the hall in silence, he explained why realpolitik is important for a successful foreign policy. He argued that a strategy based on practical and material factors would be much more successful in reaching Sordland's ambitions. Right. Based on practical and material factors would be much more successful. Do we agree? You questioned what you were being taught, or your only concern was passing the exams? Well, a strategy based on practical and material factors would be much more successful. Well, I mean, in principle, sure, yeah, I guess that's true, because, I mean, if you focus on practicality and material, in other words, I would assume money-based factors, I guess. But I'm gonna actually question that a little bit. May 22nd, 1927. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as the uniformed men created a security cordon and started arresting the teachers. A group of students started gathering in protest, along with your best friend, Peter Vectern. You decided to protest with the students or avoid any confrontation. Okay, well, I mean, along with our best friend, I mean, are we really going to just abandon him? No, I don't think we're going to abandon him, so we're going to protest with the students. I wouldn't be surprised if we get shot now. One of the officers made a loud announcement that echoed through the campus. General Suzerain declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You joined the students that slowly marched towards the large group of soldiers. Suddenly, the soldiers charged. Wouldn't be surprised if our best friend gets killed now. A student fell and was trampled as everybody started running away. I'm gonna hold our ground. Come on, let's hold our ground. Let's hold our ground. I wouldn't be surprised if I die here, to be honest. The soldiers beat you relentlessly. It was a gloomy year. I'll say that's a huge understatement right there. All right, October 10th, 1927. The coup split the students into two groups and caused frequent fights. Torture and imprisonment of any opposing voice became a daily routine in Dare. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join a human rights group, a student council, or a political debate group. Well, I don't know, that's the thing. Do we have any dreams at the moment? Do we have any dreams to become something more? Because personally, I feel like a political debate group might actually make the most sense in that regard, because that's going to give us a lot of practice for later on when we are, actually debating serious topics in actual government. But, of course, I'm not a politician in real life. I don't know how it really goes. So, I mean, a human rights group would probably be the purest thing to do, but I'm going to go for the political debate group here. The dozens of debates helped you hone your oratory skills while also helping you grow your network. Yeah, there we go. See, that actually did make a bit of a difference. Even though the debates were pretty heated between different groups, you all grew from sharing ideas. In one of the meetings, Peter introduced you to one of his friends, Monica, who was a volunteer for the Swordish League of Women. You were immediately attracted to her intelligence, beauty, or diligence. Well, I'm going to go for intelligence. Why not? The politically charged environment led you to join the Red Youth, the Socialists, the Young Swords, the Nationalists, or stay away from any political organization. Personally, I probably wouldn't agree with either of these people because I don't know what their actual goals are. So I'm going to be staying away from any political organization right now, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to maybe join something or create our own later on. I don't know how this game really goes because this is a pure first impressions. June 2nd, 1928. The radio relayed that the Communist General Ricard surrounded Suzerain and his troops, demanding their surrender. They refused, and heavy fighting broke out across the country. You just couldn't believe it. The army was fighting amongst themselves. Sordland plunged into chaos. The clashes escalated into a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, and love grew between the two of you. However, it was a difficult time for love. The chaos must end. Alright, so we're now 20, I believe. Yeah, 21 almost, I suppose. Okay, 1929, Republic of Sordland. The charismatic Colonel Tarquin Sol orchestrated or organized a sudden coup and brought an end to the chaos. He wrote a new constitution and restored stability. The people saw him as a savior. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate. In the first ever elections, you voted for the United Sordland Party. I think I'm gonna vote for him. He seems to be a pretty decent guy. And then he's going to turn out to be one of the worst, I bet. Maybe. We'll see. USP won the election by a large majority. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica and noticed her interest to marry. However, a letter arrived from the military calling you to fulfill your compulsory service. it was time to serve your national duty. February 1930, Berger region. A devastating civil war broke out in the neighboring country of Valen. The distinguished Major Josef Lancia ordered you to lead your squad on a border patrol mission. It was a very cold winter night when you began marching out of Gomran outpost. You could see your breath. After several hours of marching through the snowy hills, distant noises were heard. Visibility was too low to confirm the source. The squad crawled forward in formation and found a spot to observe. A group of refugees had made it beyond the border fence. You escorted them back or let them slip through. Well, I just don't have enough information to really decide whether this is a good idea or not, but I would assume because they want to escape. I mean, they want to escape, so they must be the ones that know the current situation where they are, and so I'm going to let them slip through. After the patrol, Major Lancia arrived with anger and immediately relieved you of your command, calling you a disappointment. One of your squad members had reported your actions. After several months of scrubbing the floors as a punishment, your duties ended and you went back to civilian life. I mean, I think that that's the thing. Again, it depends whether that was actually the right choice to make or not. I mean, as I said, if those people want to escape that particular place that they're in, then I would assume it's pretty bad. And so as a result, surely it would be a good idea to actually help people like that. I don't know. I mean, it really depends. There's so many different circumstances that we don't know about. So, well, we'll see. Anyway, 1931. You and Monica decided to share your lives together. After receiving the blessing of her parents, a ceremony was held in Holsword. During the same year, you worked hard to secure a high-paying job at the governing United Sordland Party. It was much more difficult to start your career on a good foot because of the refugee incident, but you still managed. Well, that's actually good to know that my previous choices actually do have a bit of an effect there. Alright, so working for the ruling party was the easiest path to power. The financial compensation was too great to pass up. It was the best opportunity to change the country for the better. Well, at the moment, I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'm playing kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like a lawful good sort of thing, or maybe just a general good, you know, good kind of guy sort of thing. I'm not trying to be too evil here, and I'm not trying to do anything too much for power or anything, because I feel like this game has a lot of replayability, so I didn't really want to do something that was going to be too neutral, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of going for things that may be considered decent and upstanding things to do. And then if we have another playthrough, if you want to see another playthrough, that is, then maybe it would be a cool idea to play a bit more of an evil, power-hungry guy and see what happens with that. Anyway, it was the best opportunity to change the country for the better is what we'll choose. You became the foreign policy assistant to one of the more experienced members of Assembly. You worked long and hard, staying late at work, reviewing dozens of foreign policy plans. You were climbing the ladder. September 1933. Wow, that's 3 years later, okay. Saul strengthened the Republic by removing the institutions and symbols of the former kingdom from society. Things were also looking up for the country as the massive economic boom continued, and people were the happiest they had been in a decade. Election time came, and it was decided. President Tarquin Sol was elected once more. April 2nd, 1934. The preparation of the most comprehensive trade agreement with Agnolia was occupying most of your personal time, but your significant contribution to the trade talks triggered an invitation to meet President Tarquin Sol himself, who offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of Assembly. Well, this guy, I mean, come on. Okay, so here's the thing. You accepted with doubts, you accepted right away. I think accepting right away is more than likely the right way to go, because let's face it, the people are happy, and there's an economic boom, everyone's cool with him. I feel like that's quite nice, so we'll accept right away. 1938. As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the influential inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought Peter as your right-hand man. The birth of your son, Frank, provided a brief moment of joy and relief. You sacrificed work to spend time with your family, or sacrificed family to improve your position in the party. Okay, this is... they're starting to get a bit difficult here with these choices. Alright, I'm gonna actually sacrifice work to spend time with family. 1941. During your absence, Petter found trustworthy contacts and strengthened your position in the party. I know I'm changing this guy's name now because technically it's Petter, right? Or something along those lines. Not Peter, even though it technically is in English. I mean, in English it would be Peter, but in, well, whichever place this is based in, you know, whichever region this is based in, then it would be Petter. But I mean, I'm English, so I'm pretty terrible at pronouncing things, so I'm just going to continue saying Peter at this point. At the same time, President Sol increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife within the party. Oh dear. Okay, the cracks began to show. But thankfully, Peter's got our back. Look at that. October 1945. President Sol barely secured a majority in the election against the opposition leader. Over the past year, people were growing discontent with corruption and the worsening quality of life. Meanwhile, calls for a united Sordland Party Congress became louder as a leadership struggle started to brew. You watched from the sidelines, kept supporting the president, or joined the internal opposition. Right, okay, so now he's starting to lose faith for some reason. Is he actually corrupt? Or is this just a rumor spread by the opposition to kind of cause a bit of, you know, the seeds of discord, shall we say? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't have enough information to really decide, but he barely secured a majority, but it could literally just be that there are some people corrupt in his own party, so I'm actually going to keep supporting the president for the moment. 1946, in July. The contender for party leadership was Uphold Alfonso, a reformist. Okay, hello there. And a talented business magnate with a growing popularity within the party. You were trying to secure votes for President Sol, who noticed your loyalty and approached you with a lucrative deal. You had a meeting with him. The president offered you the position of Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade in the next government if you backed him in the upcoming vote. Sure, why not? I mean, I don't mind. I think that surely this guy is... I mean, that's the thing. It depends, because he could have become corrupted over the years, because it's only been... I mean, it's been quite a while, actually. It's been 8 years since his third election win, and it's been 4 years since his previous one. So, I'm going to accept, just because it might very well give us some kind of extra sway, and we'll see. Oh, look at this. They actually give you the choice to vote specifically here. All right, August 1946. The party congress was nothing short of impressive. The banners of United Sordland were decorating every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists, and benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party leadership began. Alright, so we're going to vote for Tarquin Sol or for Uphold Alfonso. I kind of like the fact that this guy's... I mean, obviously, reformist is like kind of a political / religious sort of term. I did not realize that at the time of choosing it, obviously, because when I chose it, it was very, very long ago. But anyway, I'm going to vote for Tarquin here. September 1st, 1946. Unfortunately, Sol lost the leadership vote to Uphold Alfonso with a small margin. During the Congress, Sol announced his retirement from politics. The systems he had established were to stay much longer, his achievements wouldn't be forgotten. And you were happy that Sol was leaving? You were troubled by the departure of Sol, or you didn't care about who was in charge? I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a bit troubled. October 15th, 1946. A month later, your daughter was born. Monica named her Diana. She motivated you during a tumultuous period in the party. The general elections were approaching. The United Sordland Party was under the new leadership of Uphold Alfonso. You joined the party effort and campaigned for him, or did your best not to help him. Why not? I mean, we are part of the party. We should join the party effort and campaign for him. He's the leader, so come on, let's do it. 1949. During the general elections, the main opposition leader was embroiled in a sex scandal with his secretary, diminishing their chances. The extensive privatization program proposed by Ewald Alfonso secured an election victory for the United Sordland Party. Over the next years, you did your best in order to make Sordland a better place. You tried all that was necessary to climb up the ladder, or you dedicated yourself to the party and its success. Right. Well, here's the thing that some people... I don't really like bringing politics into anything that I do, because I think it's a very divisive subject, and I think people have a lot of different opinions, and it's very difficult to sort of come together as one united, mindset in that regard. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to be making Sordland a better place. 1951. The presidency of Ewald Alfonso saw many bold reforms, but was followed by a serious economic recession. The other parties announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair system hampered all opposition efforts to win. You thought that your party could not survive another crisis, were worried about the economic recession, or were worried that your reputation would be tarnished, along with Alfonso. Alright, I'm going to be worried about the economic recession, actually. I don't really care too much about parties, to be honest. I feel like the good of the country matters more than the good of the party, in my opinion. I feel like a party is just some random organization that got formed and doesn't really matter that much. I mean, I suppose a country is relatively the same thing, but on a different scale. But in general, the whole of the country matters more than the small party. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Anyway, we're going to be worried about the economic recession. I don't care about my why do I care about my reputation? Okay, so together with Peter, your presence in the USP grew, and you became the face of a new wing in the party. You effectively took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make a move had come. You blamed Alfonso for the crisis on television, bribed and extorted Alfonso's inner circle. Wow, you got some really extreme options here. I wouldn't mind choosing that at another time. We'll see. I'm going to advise him to step down. January 1953. He didn't take your advice seriously and started to reshuffle his cabinet, but most of his inner circle abandoned him. Your diplomatic attitude made the party vote you in as the leader. Following this, you announced that you would be running for president in the general election, with Peter as your running mate. It was your turn. October 1953. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to enact democratic reforms or preserve national values. I don't know what either of these mean. That's the problem here. Again, I don't have enough information to really understand what is actually happening, but I assume national values would probably be sort of like older values that may be a little bit outdated potentially, and enacting reforms would probably be new things that might actually help out the country a little bit more in the current day. So I'm going to go for enacting democratic reforms. The people are tired of empty promises. We need fundamental change in our institutions and government. A solid and transparent democracy awaits us. Brothers and sisters, a new constitution and a new age is upon us. The broadcast ended. November 5th, 1953. On Election Day, millions went out to cast their votes. It was time to face the truth. Chapter 1. President Rayne. So apparently we made it. Did we? Yeah, I think we did. I think we did. All right, this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be super interesting. That was literally just the prologue, by the way. That was literally just the prologue. All of that, that's it. Okay, so now we've got some really cool stuff going on here. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, okay, wait a minute. Movie star? All right. Rebellious. Stylish. 20s. Gentleman. Gentleman's hat. Oh my. All right. We're going to go for rebellious. Look at him. Oh, he looks good. No. You know what? Let's just go for stylish. He's kind of older now, so we gotta make him a little bit looking refined here. You know, he can't be a movie star right now. All right, I'm gonna go for something nice. Yes, this, yes. Maroon suit, Sordland first, tuxedo? No, come on, a tuxedo? No way. All right, we'll go with the maroon suit. I think it looks pretty nice. Oh, black glasses. Yes. Oh, cigar pipe? No, we'll go with the black glasses. Why not? Then we'll have a background here. Okay, what are we going to go for? Gold, green, maroon, red. What goes with maroon suit? I'm not entirely sure. What about gold? That seems pretty nice. Let's go with gold. Yeah, why not? Can I change his name? Nah, I don't think I can change his name. All right, let's do it. You'll not be able to change how President Rayne looks from this point forward. Are you sure? Yes. The hardest decision I've ever had to make. All right. As Anton Rayne, you have made many promises to the people of Sordland in order to gain their votes. They must be considered very carefully. The economy. For example, Sordland's economy had been based on a planned doctrine since its formation until the former president Ewald Alfonso enacted free market reforms. Now the country finds itself in between two different economic systems. Okay, so I have no idea what either of these mean. Does it not give me any kind of effect? We'll go for the free market, I guess. I don't know what that means, so I guess we'll just go with that. I am not a political student in any way. I really don't know about either one of these options, so I'm just choosing what sounds, I guess, kind of good. I don't know. Okay, so diplomacy. The intensifying global rivalry between capitalist Arcasia in the west and communist United Kontana in the east is opening new diplomatic possibilities. Sordland could take steps to align itself closer to one. Right, capitalist or communist? I don't really like either of those, to be honest. Both have very many disadvantages. I don't really know. I mean, allying ourselves with someone is going to be good, but then the other one, I mean, it depends, because here's the thing. They are having a rivalry right here, and if they go to war, we're going to have to deal with both, we're going to have to deal with them, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm actually going to say neither for the moment, and we'll see what happens later on. Immigration. In recent years, Bloodish, Vezek, and Agnolian immigrants flocked to Sordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by Ewald Alfonso. As a result, tensions in between swords and immigrants have been increasing. Alright. I mean, here's the thing. They're probably fleeing war, right? I'm gonna tighten immigration, though. That's the thing. Should I? This is a really difficult situation to be in, because on the one hand, I really do want to make it so that people have a safe place to live in, because let's face it, you don't really want to get, you don't really want to have war outside your door, do you? No, you don't really want that, right? I'm going to keep immigration relaxed, actually. We'll see what we can do about that. Maybe we can actually improve things. But there's going to be tension. The tension is going to be harsh. Okay, so let's have a look here. Term focus. We have also promised to focus on a certain extensive subject within our first term. The people expect us to solve the negative situations within this topic while providing an overall improvement to the related policies. So health, education, law enforcement, and military. Right. Since the 1940s, the difference of service quality between urban and rural hospitals has been getting increasingly worse, and the average life expectancy has dropped significantly. Right. Okay. I'm gonna go, you know what? I'm gonna go for education, I think. I think that's probably one of the most important things that we can focus on. So we're going to be doing that. We're gonna focus on education as much as possible in this term. 2 weeks have passed since we won the election. And now I was about to be sworn in as the 4th president of Sordland. Thousands were watching the inauguration ceremony and cheering my name, Anton Rayne. The die was cast. And there, my story began. In the distance, the Maroon Palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what future awaited me there. I looked at my family. My son and daughter, Frank and Diana, were next to Monica, my wife. Her eyes were glittering? Well, glimmering as well, with pride. Then I turned towards the key people who made it all possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my cabinet. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Also, Hawker, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. "The time for the oath has come," says the old man. Okay, it has indeed. "Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear." "I do solemnly swear that I will respectfully execute the office of the President of Sordland. And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend." Preserve, protect, and defend the people and the Constitution of the Republic of Sordland. "You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President." It is an honor. I'm going to say that. It is an honor, sir. Okay. Dear citizens of Sordland, should I be that disconnected, or should I say brothers and sisters? I actually have no idea. I mean, I don't want to say my fellow swords. Dear citizens? I'm actually not entirely sure. Let's say dear citizens. The crowd looked very eager to listen to me. Oh, well, that's good. Thank you. Good evening. Here's a banana. Yes, I will be the banana president of Sordland. Sounds like a good idea. All right. The idea of unity, the current dire situation, change and hope. The idea of unity. I think we're gonna focus on unity here. If we focus on, change and hope. I think focusing on unity is probably going to be the thing that we want to do here. For many generations, this country and its long history have kept us tied to an idea, the idea of unity, and our people's right for a free and prosperous life. If we stand together, we prevail. In the past, there have been times of survival, times of conflict and economic hardship too, but whenever we stood together, we prevailed. This is all just empty words at the moment. We haven't done anything at all. I promise you, we will stop the recession and eliminate poverty. First we must rewrite our broken constitution from 1929. Well, yeah, I think we should probably rewrite that. Yeah, I'm gonna actually say that. First, we must rewrite our broken constitution from 1929. Change now, not in the next decade or years, today. Hundreds of thousands cheered. They were shouting my name in unison. I felt the responsibility, the power, and the burden, all at the same time. Okay, let's... I actually don't want to do anything. I just want to stand there looking, looking composed, I guess. So let's just enjoy the moment. Taking a deep breath in, I enjoyed the moment. I took a long look at the people of Sordland to burn this moment into my memory. One of the presidential guards came by to notify me that it was time to leave. I made my way to the leading car in the motorcade. And then it exploded. No, it didn't. No. I thought I'm 100% expecting to get assassinated at any moment at this point. The presidential state car was a jet black Cadillac with flags of Sordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. "Hello, Mr. President." Still under the effect of the speech I made, hearing my new title made me smile. "If you allow me to introduce myself, I am Serge, your new driver." "Nice to meet you, Serge." "It's an honor." He respectfully bowed his head before opening the car door and gesturing inside. I entered the car. "We will be heading towards the palace." The motorcade began to move. On the way, Serge proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. As minutes passed by, I found myself lost in thought again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly made a gesture towards the now closer palace. "Isn't it a beauty? The maroon palace." I wonder whether that's because of the choice of suit color. He was right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-colored domes. It was so bright that I had to look away. Every time I look at it, I am reminded of my duty to this nation. Alright, it is in good hands now, so do I. It's the beating heart. We all owe a great debt to the men who led the country from here. It's just a building. Well, that's the thing. Okay, so now here's the deal. It is just a building, absolutely. If you look at it practically, sure, it's just a building. However, there are very important people living there, doing their work there, and running the country from there. So I suppose technically it could also be considered the beating heart of the nation. If you look at it from a completely objective standpoint. So I'm going to say... I'm going to say it is the beating heart of the nation. Well said, Mr. President. The car drove past the majestic gates, continued uphill to the entrance, and stopped in front of the doors. Serge got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. And then he says something that I will not try to pronounce. He referred to the famous Swordish phrase from the times of revolution. It means, morning will come, victory is close. Alright, I'm going to say victory is close to him. Should I say that? I from the times of revolution. I don't know. Is that going to be misconstrued? Because I might be giving the wrong impression. I'm going to say see you soon. I made my way upstairs through the extravagant corridors of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finishes decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Alright, there we go. It actually saved the game. And now look at what we have here. We have this entire... Oh, look at that. It's literally on a table. That is actually super cool. Look at that. That is so cool. The little effects that they've made here is really, really nice. And they even have like a little radio there too. I like that. Is that a radio? Actually, I'm not entirely sure. Is it? Yeah, I think it looks like a radio. Okay. And then they even have look at the high resolution letter that they have here. You can even read that if you want to. I mean, obviously, if you understand Swordish, which is I think this is fictional. I think this is a fictional country. Yeah. Okay. So I have no idea what to do now, but I think this is a pretty good time to actually end this episode off here. So let me know. Do you want to see more of Suzerain from me? If you do, hit the like button, tell me in the comments, whatever you want to do. But if you want to play it for yourself, there is a link in the description. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.